The period following World War II was the golden years for the Western Maryland. Management upgraded service, and a new slogan proclaimed Western Maryland, the fast freight line. A distinctive new fireball logo proudly heralded the road's new image. These years also saw the apex of steam on the Western Maryland. William P. Price grew up in Cumberland, Maryland, and was on hand to capture these moments on 8mm color film, color slides, and black and white prints. His still photographs appear in many books and articles. This program features Bill's films made in 1953 and 1954 on the Western Maryland's main line to Connellsville and on the Elkins subdivision west of Cumberland. We'll see Western Maryland passenger trains, heavy freights on famous Helmstedter's Curve, and over the spectacular Salisbury Viaduct. On the Elkins subdivision, multiple engine trains battle Black Fork grade through Blackwater Canyon. Dieselization was near, but for the moment, steam ruled on the Western Maryland's Allegheny rails. Western Maryland passenger train number 3 from Hagerstown, pulled by Pacific number 208, emerges from the Knobley Tunnel. It'll back down to the Cumberland station, where it'll pick up passengers, then continue on to Elkins, West Virginia as train number 9. An EMD F7 with a freight out of Hagerstown picks up orders from MY Tower at Maryland Junction. There'll be a crew change and a helper added at the Knobmount Yards just across the river in Cumberland. He got it. An eastbound freight pulled by consolidation number 821 is near Deal, Pennsylvania on the Connellsville line. 821 is one of the newer, very handsome 280s. On a cold winter day, an eastbound Western Maryland freight is passing Keystone, Pennsylvania. Number 819 powers the train. The 825 passes Deal with another Western Maryland eastbound freight. By now, CTC has been installed and the semaphores are gone. The train is mostly coal from either Gray, Pennsylvania or mines in West Virginia. You can almost feel that cold. These F units are passing the shops at Maryland Junction, West Virginia. The train is headed east toward Hagerstown. A Challenger is the main power on this train, assisted by 2 F units. 210O Decapod number 1129 is on the rear. Helmstedter's Curve got its name from the family that owned the farm that was crossed by the railroad. The same family still owns the farm. How many fallen flags can you read on those cars passing by? This westbound is at Lapp Water Stop about halfway between Cumberland and Frostburg. The engine is a Decapod 1100 series. Two Fireball logo F units assist the steam engine on this freight as it emerges from the Cumberland Narrows. Decapod 1118 pushes hard against the caboose. A caboose is coupled behind this engine, which means that the engine, caboose, and crew will be cut off at Deal, then follow the train to Connellsville for an eastbound trip. Two Western Maryland F units pull a westbound freight over the Connellsville main line near Corriganville, Maryland. The train is assisted on the rear by Decapod 1111, which will be cut off at Coalmire. A grade train is down grade at the same location. The coal is from the Gray Mine in Pennsylvania and is headed for Bethlehem Steel. At Maryland Junction, a caboose is being switched toward the Ridgely Yard for westbound trains. An eastbound arrives headed for Knobmount Yard, which is for all eastbound trains. This train is being pulled by 210O 1111, the Four Aces. A K2 Pacific, the 208, pulls the two-car Western Maryland passenger train number 10 from Elkins through the yards at Maryland Junction. Engine number 817 is on the local freight to Connellsville between Frostburg and Borden Tunnel. This train operated west from Cumberland on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and east on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from Connellsville. This rare shot shows a Western Maryland freight coming off the B&O main line at Mount Savage Junction near Corriganville. It runs up the old weed-grown Cumberland and Pennsylvania main line. The train is the local to Mount Savage and Frostburg, pulled by one of the older 280s, number 754. The C&P was taken over by the Western Maryland about 1944. This track would be taken up about a year after this sequence was filmed. It's now a highway. The same train is further up the old C&P main line heading toward Mount Savage. Two Alco RS road switchers, numbers 187 and 188, are helping 2 F units on a Connellsville-bound freight. They're headed around Helmstedter's Curve near Corriganville. These Alcos were purchased for use on Black Fork Grade near Elkins. To utilize their full potential, they were used as helpers out of Cumberland on the weekend. A steam-powered coal train is proceeding through South Cumberland, headed for Hagerstown, Maryland. The train will soon cross the Potomac River and then disappear into Welton Tunnel on its trek to Hagerstown. FA number 304 pulls an eastbound at Spring Gap, several miles east of Cumberland. A 1400 class Potomac pulls eastbound train number 2 toward Hagerstown. The signal at Old Town, Maryland drops, indicating the block is occupied. Then eastbound number 2 comes by from Hagerstown. Eastbound passenger train number 10 from Elkins has just crossed the bridge over the Potomac River. At Spring Gap, Hefty 484 number 1412 is on a westbound freight. Train number 4 from Hagerstown emerges from Knobley Tunnel and crosses the Potomac River into Maryland. It's pulled by a K2 Pacific. Train number 3 emerges from Weldon Tunnel and crosses the Potomac River on its way to Cumberland. The same train is now designated number 9 and leaves the Cumberland station for Elkins, West Virginia. The consist is typically an RPO baggage car and a reclining seat coach. The engine is K2 Pacific number 208. Incidentally, the Cumberland station has been preserved as a museum, and some county offices are located there now. Between North Branch and Spring Gap, Maryland, we've caught the last eastbound run of a passenger train between Cumberland and Hagerstown. The afternoon local to Elkins, train number 9, is westbound at Gerstel with number 208 on the point. Gerstel was a flag stop on this daily except Sunday train. Two F units pull a freight westbound from Hagerstown toward Cumberland out of Weldon Tunnel across the Potomac into the suburbs of Cumberland known as South Cumberland. An 1100 decapod is assisted by 2 F units as it comes out of the Cumberland Narrows on a westbound to Connellsville. Engine 1112 brings up the rear. As usual, the helper and caboose will be uncoupled at Deal. Then it'll follow the block of the freight train to Connellsville. It'll then pick up its own train. Alco FA freight units act as helpers to 1128 as it pulls a westbound over the Alleghenies near Corriganville, Maryland. Another decapod is on the rear of the train. That's a lot of horsepower, typical of this fine road. Two F units help 1123, a 210 around Helmstedter's Curve west of Cumberland. On the rear, number 1409 of 484 Potomac puts in an appearance as a helper. At Frostburg, Maryland, the same train climbs the grade up to Big Savage Tunnel. 1409 was one of 12 engines in the series. They were the last engines bought by the Western Maryland. They were in service only 7 years before they were scrapped. Looks like he's got that fire under control and can watch the scenery for a while. In Cache Valley, a westbound stone train is approaching Helmstedter's Curve. Shortly after dieselization, one of these tracks was taken up and CTC was put in. same train is now passing the depot at Frostburg, Maryland. This depot later burned after being put out of service. The first cars are loaded with stone, then comes the regular freight. At the rear of the train are empty hopper cars bound for the mines of Pennsylvania and West Virginia. We've caught the train again between Big Savage Tunnel and Deal. An eastbound work train crosses the longest bridge on the western Maryland, the Salisbury Viaduct. Today the track is gone, but the impressive structure still stands because of the tremendous cost of tearing it down. An M2 Challenger enters Helmstedter's Horseshoe Curve in Cache Valley. Double-headed 210O decapods roll around Helmstedter's Curve. 210Os were not often double-headed. They usually served as mid-train helpers. At Lapp Water Stop, double-headed Challengers power this obviously heavy westbound freight. Number 1411 of Potomac has been reduced to helper service for this train. 2 Challengers and a Potomac were a lot of power, even on the heavy grade west of Cumberland. This heavy freight passes the water tank just east of Frostburg. A little soot for the camera lens there. 210-1111 pulls a westbound Western Maryland freight near Frostburg. Having crested the summit of the Alleghenies at Big Savage Tunnel, the train is nearing the east end of Deal. A mid-train helper is in this westbound freight near Frostburg. An additional assist is given by 484-1406. Check that all-weather cab, especially suited for those Allegheny winters. Two steam helpers have just turned on the Y at Deal and are now running down the eastbound track after helping a westbound train over the Allegheny summit. Near Deal, consolidation number 803 has the eastbound Gray train with coal from the Gray mine near Somerset, Pennsylvania. This coal is headed for Bethlehem Steel in Pittsburgh. At the Deal train order station, an eastbound Gray train is coming off the double track. It'll go through the Big Savage Tunnel, then downgrade to Cumberland. Near Pinto, this daily freight to Elkins features Western Maryland's huge H9 consolidations. With grades up to 3.21% and 20-degree curves, the Elkins subdivision saw only short wheelbase engines. Another pair of H9s are double-headed near Shaw, West Virginia, about 37 miles from Cumberland.